So I just want to thank Connor and Jordan and Robin from our Peachtree team, Jason, Amanda, Forrest, Neil, who are here in the room, and everybody who's really helped to get this event organized. And for all of you who are in the room and watching at home, thank you for caring about the internet and paying attention to this important issue.
This is Roxanne Grinage, HireLyrics Administrative Services.
Thanks, guys.
I videoed this on my handheld flip phone camcorder while watching live SaveTheInternetEvent.com today, January 17, 2011. I'm going to chop this up and get it up in segments at both YouTube, and I'm going to try to get it up as the MP4 on my website, www.HireLyrics.org. God bless everyone. This is Roxanne Grinage, HireLyrics Administrative Services, where for 12 years we have demonstrated that Internet technologies enable standard access to those legal, administrative assistant, marketing, careers, e-commerce, label, and store services that provide raised quality of life and U.S. economy recovery, education reform, public safety administrative solutions by providing standard access, fair, holistic market entry for the previously unaccommodated, unmeasured, unseen, worldwide population of disadvantaged creators. We have, effective December 31st, 2011, verified the standardly presenting claims intake of 1,074 federal crime victims created by acts of official corruption, fraud, civil rights, in accordance with what the U.S. Attorney definition is of official corruption, fraud, and civil right through various deliberate or negligent acts of malpractice in the state court with a state agency or employee individually accountable, criminally or negligently behaving individual of DHS, Department of Human Services, not the Homeland Security, Department of Human Services. We are about family preservation, societal preservation, starting with the restoration of U.S. economy, hoping to reroute back to U.S. economy enriching careers the contributions into education, technology, medicine, healthcare, entertainment, litigation, referral. They are not mutually exclusive. We believe that if we can get claims set up in the capacity of a paralegal or a legal administrative assistant and responsibly refer to qualified, ethical, legal industry professionals, that litigation does not have to be, as an industry, does not have to represent the demise of any entrepreneur, self-employed individual, American working class student, or impoverished American, but can in fact be utilized to responsibly record, respectfully report in a U.S. citizens controlled public docket database the verified merits of claim, measured contingent liabilities reported responsibly to those ethical authorized individuals who work in our government and funding decision sources, lawmakers, highest levels of law enforcement. This year's slogan in our standard access practice model schematics reported to the Pennsylvania State and U.S. Department of Treasury, HireLyrics Administrative Services, U.S. Citizens Control Public Docket Database is HireLyrics Jobs Expansion 2012 recognizes law enforcement are working class people too. Repeat. HireLyrics Expansion Jobs Creation 2012 recognizes law enforcement are working class people too. God bless everyone. Strongest prayers. This is the Federal Crime Victim Statement, which is a tragically far too large voter constituency who once organized will have lobby group, voter constituency, endorsement, and impeachment clout to make this world a better place, acting lawfully but assertively to protect our civil rights. Here in America, the Federal Crime Victim Voter Statement is, quote, if one of us should fall, or 10 of us should fall, or 100 of us should fall, we will have a community needs-powered, personality independent, mechanism in place which will automatically trigger the rescue of children of all ages kidnapped for profit injured through fraud billing here in the U.S. God bless everyone. Go to www.HireLyrics.org. Prayer and a U.S. Citizens Control public docket database will rescue children of all ages, generationally, career paths growing, and will save the internet. Please do all you can to save our freedom of speech for innovators, musicians, entertainers, entrepreneurs, technology, geeks, whoever is bloggers, activists, anyone who is sharing the truth. Sharing learning results in community courage and increased quality of life. HireLyrics shares our learning. Another slogan in our practice model: at 6 years, support with all your might those teachers who cause the learning. We are more alike than we are different. Another slogan of our 7th year practice model: reported our schematic standard access. Business practices are evolving to accommodate dignity of the human spirit. God bless everyone. This is Roxanne Grinage. My cell phone is 267-444-0594. My website is HireLyrics.org. My fax number is 215-405-2939. My YouTube channels are HireLyrics, What Is There Left to Do, and Roxanne Grinage. I wish you all the best. God bless.
Our story is not at all unique. And in fact, the success and the fortune that Steve and I had is one of the smaller examples of the success that has happened in our industry, and that will continue to. Unless bills like SOPA or PIPA become law. Now, there is no other industry in the world where you can take an investment that is less than the cost of a Ford Focus, put it into a few college students with a good idea, and have a billion-dollar company a few years later. Look at something like Dropbox. Look at something with potential that started as an idea with a few hardworking people and a little bit of capital that didn't even ask anyone's permission to just put it out there and share it with the world. And the jobs that are created as a result of this industry don't go overseas. They stay here. They're done by America. They're done by Americans who come right out of school, earning 6 figures here in New York to be programmers. And they're not jobs that are going anywhere else as we continue to expand and innovate this industry. And frankly, I'd hate to be the congressperson who has to go back to his or her district and say, you know what, that's Steve and Alexis in my home district. This is not the industry for you. Maybe you could try your luck in Canada or somewhere else. And that's exactly what this legislation would do. As an entrepreneur, the success that Steve and I had simply could not have happened. Reddit.com, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, all these sites that are indispensable, even for politicians, sort of ironically, could not have happened if these laws were in place. And how come? How come, with all the important issues, Congress cannot seem to agree on an answer for unemployment or for the recession? But as soon as $95 million shows up from lobbyists, Democrats and Republicans line up to co-sponsor a bill to become law. Why is that? I think if we've got any silver lining on all of this with SOPA and PIPA, it's been the response. It's been the American people rising up to take their government back, to say that lobbyist dollars shouldn't actually dictate laws. And this is the first time we've actually seen an internet-based action. This was not, don't be fooled, there were no leaders of this movement. It was a bunch of internet users, a bunch of venture capitalists, a bunch of entrepreneurs, people from very different camps on the left and the right, all agreeing that this was terrible legislation that looked a lot more like lobbyist dollars at work than the best interests of Americans. And so this isn't just a huge win for our industry. We saw SOPA being shelved. The fight is not over. We're still, we're showing up at our senator's offices here in New York on Wednesday. I hope the weather's a little better. But we'll be there regardless. We'll probably be the geekiest, most rational protest ever. But we're excited about this because this is showing the power of the American people to mobilize online to get real change in government. And if you don't believe that this is an election issue already, it is already happening. And it's starting to become something, and it's very, very important that our senators and representatives take into account the fact that this is the start of something much bigger. And so like I said, the world is not flat, but the World Wide Web is. Please keep it that way. Because frankly, I don't know what else I would do with myself. The internet, this industry is all that I know. And if it weren't for Reddit and, like I said, the fortune Steve and I had, I'd probably be a lawyer. And if you'd like more entrepreneurs in this world, and maybe a few fewer lawyers, then I think it's in your best interest to make sure that we preserve the freedom of our World Wide Web. Thank you.
For those who are viewing online, you can definitely, as you listen to these panelists, start the questions rolling. If you're on Twitter, please use the hashtag SaveTheInternetEvent. Over email, you can email us at savetheinternetevent@gmail.com, or you can go to the website that is hosting this right now, savetheinternetevent.com, where there is a live chat and you can post things in the chat room. Folks can also sign the petition if you haven't already. Our next speaker is Rebecca McKinnon, a New America Foundation Senior Fellow and Global Voices co-founder. And I'm just going to ask each of our speakers to keep opening remarks to about 2 to 3 minutes so we can have lots of time for questions. Rebecca?
Thanks very much. Just in case people believe the framing that some people are trying to impose on this issue as being a lobbying war between the old media industry and the new internet industry. You know, Rupert Murdoch, I guess it was yesterday or the day before, tweeted that this is the opposition to SOPA and PIPA is just all driven by the Silicon Valley paymasters who feel that their businesses are threatened. I'm here today to represent communities of bloggers and activists who do not have any financial interest in this fight, and also people around the world who study and are concerned about the spread of internet censorship and surveillance around the world, again, who are not part of this lobbying war. To discuss some of the human rights and civil liberties implications of this legislation, not just for Americans, but people around the world. I co-founded 7 years ago a site called Global Voices Online. It's a network of bloggers and digital activists around the world. A number of our community members were very active in Egypt and Tunisia in the movements there, continue to be very active. And I'm hearing from these people saying, what is going on in Washington? Our governments continue, actually, there's still a debate in Tunisia about whether censorship should be reinstituted for public morals and security. And the legislators that have been newly elected in Tunisia are pointing to stuff that's going on here and saying, you see, even the Americans want to do it, so we should too. And so people are very concerned. But also there's a bigger issue as well of the fact that in this day and age, citizens, no matter where you live, our relationship with government, our relationship with everything, our jobs and our personal lives and everything, but also our relationship with politics is mediated increasingly through these digital platforms and networks. And we need to make sure that the people, be they companies, government regulators, or whoever, that are influencing what you can say, what you can upload, what you can access, are not doing so in a way that can be abused and that can prevent citizens either from starting up nonprofit organizations to organize information, or from using YouTube instantaneously to upload videos without YouTube having to vet those videos to see whether they infringed copyright before they can be released, and this sort of thing. And increasingly you're seeing, for instance, in censorship systems in China, I wrote a op-ed for the New York Times last year that I titled "Stop the Great Firewall of America." And there are two aspects of internet censorship around the world. One is the blocking of the domain name system, and there's a lot of discussion of that here. Countries like China are blocking Twitter and Facebook and so on. But there's another aspect of censorship that doesn't get as much attention, and that is the expectation that governments have in a lot of countries on private intermediaries, private companies, to censor and monitor users, and holding those companies liable for basically infringing activity conducted by their users. And in countries like China, what that means is that that the government expects companies to hire basically entire departments of people to make sure that their users are not violating the law. And this gets abused in all number of ways, and essentially provisions of both SOPA and PIPA would be placing liability on U.S. companies and companies around the world that are running websites that have content from around the world or are linking to content around the world to be monitoring and proactively censoring content in ways that are going to stifle free expression. And just for those of you who think, well, this is a democracy, this law can't be abused in the same way, sure. I'm not saying that the U.S. is about to turn into China. That would indeed be ludicrous. But we've seen even how current copyright law under the DMCA has sometimes been abused by those who would stifle free expression. You had in 2003, Diebold, the voting machine company, successfully got internet service providers to take down content that contained material from Diebold, the company, about defects in their voting machines. And you also recently had Carrier IQ, the company that creates basically software that allows internet phone providers, mobile phone providers, to monitor the activities of users. A blogger critically wrote about Carrier IQ, and Carrier IQ tried to go after him for copyright violation, using that as an excuse to get him to take down his critiques. So copyright law does get abused, and we need to make sure as we go forward, yes, there is a need to protect intellectual property, but there needs to be a balance, just as in our physical world, when we're passing laws about, how do we protect physical property? How do we make sure people are safe? If you want to guarantee zero 100% security and zero infringement, you're going to live in North Korea. And we don't want to create sort of the digital equivalent of lockdown. I mean, there are trade-offs here. And you need to allow a certain amount of freedom and due process and checks and balances to ensure that the regulations that we are moving forward with in our digital lives have the same kind of balance that we've come to expect in our physical lives, because increasingly our freedoms and the future of our democracy and of other democracies depends on our digital environment protecting liberties in the same way that we protect them in our physical environment. I'm sorry for going over time.